Hey, y'all. This is Frank the Bigfoot, and you're listening to the Paranormal Punchers.
Hey, friends. Welcome to Paranormal Punchers. I'm Martin.
I'm Alicia.
I'm Nash.
And on this episode, you're hearing the second version because we recorded 10 minutes where I forgot to hit record.
Yeah.
Hey.
I'm give a big thanks to Funk and E-Town for the pregame.
Yeah, we went to Funk and pregame. Thank you, Funk. Your beers are delicious.
These beers are delicious. Thank you.
I have a New Year's resolution. That is to always make sure I actually hit record.
That the equipment is working before we start.
And for people listening, just so I know you think it sounds easy, but it's a double hit.
Yeah,
That's right.
it's a double.
One hit,
Yeah.
it flashes, so you can check your levels, get your sound right. The second hit is a straight record. Well, sometimes I only hit it once, and I think we're rolling.
Yeah.
Right.
So you missed a bunch, but we're going to do it all over again for you.
That's right.
Our main topic tonight, we're talking about the Schaumboch Tavern, potentially Pennsylvania's first serial killer, Matthias Schaumboch, and the mystery and the weird and on Hawk Mountain.
Okay.
Before we get there, we have listener feedback brought to you by Living Among Bigfoot, the awesome book series. A new installment drops the 15th of every month. Lish, you're reading one right now. Is it good?
Oh, my goodness. It's so good.
We're
guys are
bumping
gonna
up
love
our
it.
review to really good.
It's really good, guys.
It's really good.
Do it.
You can find it on Amazon. Without further ado,
Yes.
listener feedback. We heard from Meg.
Meg.
She says, "Hey guys, after the busy holiday season, I was finally able to take a moment and listen to the Min Lights episode.
Okay.
So awesome. I am floored you guys decided to do an episode about it. You guys did so much research. I loved it. You found stuff that my partner nor I even knew about. Now, Meg, you are the only person to say we
I
did so much
know.
research.
Right.
You're the best. Thank you so much.
That's very encouraging that you noticed or believed or whatever that we did a lot of research, but thank you very much because it was a fantastic episode to do.
And she continues, super fun to listen to, and thank you for all the shout-outs that you have given me. It's amazing how you guys include your listeners' feedback and comments in your episodes. I can't wait to hear all the awesome stuff you have coming in 2019.
Woohoo.
Well, you're hearing you're hearing how well I'm starting off 2019
I know.
by not recording. She says, keep up the amazing work. If it's not weird, it's not worth checking out.
Aw.
P.S. Pudding Skin FTW.
For the win.
Much love, Meg.
Yeah.
I just don't know why we got to get the pudding skin going.
The pudding skin.
We heard from 3 Spirited on Twitter, at 3_Spirited. They said, thank you guys so much for following us back. You guys are so funny and always amazing. I find it hilarious when you butcher the UK's countries. LOL.
Well, we have a hard time
I know.
with
It's
every name, I think.
pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, and that's why I got to apologize every time, because I guarantee you I will mess up the name. I mess up the name of towns in Pennsylvania.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm
right.
definitely going to butcher towns in other countries.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm sorry, but I'm glad you think it's funny, because we're trying.
We're trying.
know.
Yeah.
We try. The one werewolf episode, there was a lot of names of towns in that one
Yeah.
that we straight up murdered.
Oh, God, yeah.
We did not say probably a single one right.
Probably not.
Yeah. But they continue here with, but keep doing what you're doing, and I am so proud of having you follow us, having a follow from you guys. Keep up the amazing work, and I look forward to the next podcast. Thank you, 3 Spirited.
Yes, thank you very much.
I might, because you can go on like the interwebs
Yeah.
and click stuff that tells you how to pronounce it properly.
I
God.
think that if, like when it comes to the Min Lights or listener feedback, that if we mispronounce something, that the listener who kind of points that out should send like a little audio bit of them saying it correctly.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
That's what we did. We could not pronounce brujeria.
Brujeria.
We still can't say it right.
Yeah, but he sent us an audio bit. That was awesome.
That's the best way to do it.
I'm telling you.
If you want to try to teach us, because clearly we still can't say it right.
Right.
That's another topic on our list, our ever-growing list. Thank you guys so much. We heard from Emily. She dropped us a little nugget in our Facebook group. Emily said, I used the pudding skin analogy at work and got a positive reaction.
See? Huh?
Just thought I'd let people know.
It's a solid concept. Pudding skin, solid.
It's not solid. It's
It's kind of. It's kind of in the middle.
Here's one thing, and I think this is why I'm always ripping on you. Number one, I don't eat pudding.
Oh my gosh! What are you talking about?
We don't eat pudding.
So
we don't eat dairy.
So when you make homemade pudding, pudding comes with a crust on top?
No, it's not. No. You can't do homemade pudding. It's got to be like the Jello, the chocolate pudding, the stuff that.
There's a crust on that.
Well, if you open it and you leave it out for a little bit too long, it gets the pudding skin. Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm glad I brought that up just to show again that his analogy is based on leaving pudding sitting out.
Which, and you get the little cups, they don't really stay out. And quite honestly, if you saw my picture, not much pudding gets left out ever. But it did in my youth,
Maybe.
That's how I knew about the pudding skin.
I freaking loved pudding when I was younger.
I know.
So there's no way it would be left out.
You've never had pudding? Chocolate pudding?
I've had pudding
Yeah.
when I was younger.
Back in the day.
It's not my.
We don't do
go-to.
dairy,
Yeah.
so we would have to do our own thing.
Well, pudding, I guess, could be dairy or non-dairy. I don't know. It's kind of.
It's usually dairy.
You think so?
Yeah, it's usually dairy.
Well,
I don't know how good non-dairy pudding would be.
It does the trick. I've had some.
When you buy pudding, it's not refrigerated though. So
I don't know why, because they put a bunch of crap in it.
Well, it's all preservatives and nuclear research and mutagen and things like that. That's why the skin forms. It's good stuff.
Hey, friends, welcome to Food Punchers, where we break down what goes into pudding. Just kidding. We heard from Peppery Potts. All the way from Australia. She said, such a great episode. Also, sorry I creeped you out. And then a little spider emoji.
Oh.
That spider.
And I love that. I think it was our buddy Mike on the Facebook group dropped a meme that said "spider problem gone" or whatever, but it was like this house on fire.
Yeah.
Because these again, face huggers. The only way to get rid of them is to burn your house.
It's so big. It's so big.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that spider's massive. It's as big as your face. And then the legs wrap around your skull.
Yeah.
You can grab onto your chest and hold on.
No, you're getting very elaborate with what's going to happen.
I'm not a fan of spiders.
No. Really, is anybody?
There's some.
There are some people, yes. Yeah.
Did I ever tell you about the time I owned a tarantula?
I would not be able to do this podcast if I knew there was a pet tarantula in the house.
No. This was long ago. For some weird reason, went to this pet store when up in Perry County with my friends hanging out, and they had tarantulas, and it just seemed very weird to me. And it was wicked cheap, like $15. But I was terrified when this thing was on my arm and walking around. I became a statue.
Yeah.
I could have been like one of those weird statues in the park that doesn't move. The living statues.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, I did make this really kick-ass aquarium for it.
Okay.
I had sand. This photo of sand dunes and jeeps ramping out of sand dunes, and then the gravel for them and some rocks.
Yeah.
When I would feed them crickets, this thing would straight up just murder them. But the way it would just come up over that rock. And then just creep up on the crickets and just hammer them with his fangs.
No way. Oh, my gosh.
Now, so there was this one time I was like, well, it's my pet. Maybe I should pick it up and let it walk on my arm like that guy at the pet store was doing.
Yeah.
I made a grave mistake.
Did you just reach in and grab him or
the
something?
spider was in the corner of the tank. So when you go to pick them up, you kind of get under their rear legs, and,
Okay.
and they need room to move forward slightly, and then
Yeah.
you kind of scoop.
Yeah.
Well, he was already back. He was in a corner. He
So
had
you
nowhere
went from
to go.
the front.
Well, no, I tried to come in from behind.
Okay.
And pick him up, but he had nowhere to like ease himself into the process because he was already in the corner. So I think he freaked out. He spun around. No, tarantula.
Yeah.
But he opened up. He was on his rear legs.
oh
he
my
stood
gosh.
up on his rear legs.
This is horrendous.
He opened up. All his other legs opened
Yeah.
up as big as he could make
He
himself.
went into like an attack posture.
He tilted his head back, and that's when I realized tarantula fangs are about a good half an inch,
Oh, God.
3/4 inch long. I pulled my hand out, and I immediately gave it to my. I gave it away to my friend.
Oh
the
my
next day.
gosh. Oh my gosh. That would freak me out. I'm getting like PTSD from listening to this story. Oh my gosh.
That was my extent owning a pet
my.
tarantula, which I don't think are good pets. You can't take them
Yeah.
for a walk, and
No.
they can't jump on the couch and snuggle with you while you watch Netflix. So no.
Oh my gosh. We get them a lot back home in Arizona. You know, one time of the year, the tarantulas come out and they migrate. And you'll be driving down the street and you might look down the street and see 500 tarantulas just kind of all just kind of crossing the street, going the
What?
same direction. At
It's
the same
like
time.
something out of arachnophobia.
Right.
Yeah, they come out after the monsoons because all the food is out and they're migrating for breeding or for whatever.
What the heck?
And they're everywhere. And so you just end up driving your car and you sometimes you try to miss them, but you just literally just drive over them. But if you're walking around, you kind of have to step around them sometimes.
Nope.
Yeah, it's horrific because this whole migration of just thousands of tarantulas
my
all at the same
God.
time.
That's a big fat no.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Speaking of spiders, when you go camping, there are probably spiders. But you know what else there could be? Bigfoot.
Bigfoot.
So earlier in the week, Lish shot me an email. She's like, have you ever heard of this? There's something called the PA Bigfoot Camping Adventure.
Yep.
So a bunch of people are going to camp out in Pennsylvania, somewhere out towards Pittsburgh, I think the Ohio Pile area. And they're going to camp and geek out about Bigfoot.
That sounds like a blast.
Right? They got special guests, which includes filmmaker Bill Lancaster, who has been on our show.
Yeah.
He was talking about, at the time, Culture Bigfoot. He has a new movie coming out. I think it's called Paranormal Bigfoot. They're going to be there, so I don't know if they're going to show their movie. But the dude that's on that TV show, hold on, I'm clicking their link. I forget it all of a sudden. Finding Bigfoot.
Okay.
His name's Cliff Barackman.
Okay.
He's going to be there. I'm like, wow, this sounds really interesting.
It sounds
so
like-
everybody's camping out, talking about Bigfoot.
Hiking
you got
during the
guest
day.
speakers. Yeah, and then going out and doing Bigfoot hunts.
Right.
Searches.
Right.
Searches.
Out in the woods, you kind of doing knocking or you're out there looking for Bigfoot. That'd be fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, would you go? Would you do camping? Would you do tent, RV,
totally.
or cabin?
That's a good question. I would like to say I would do tent, but I would probably end up doing cabin.
Yeah, I would go cabin because this campground you can rent an RV.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so you could, I wouldn't. I would skip tent. I know there's some purists that think tent camping's great, but let me tell you, the chupacabra can rip right through a tent.
Well, right, and to have your own kitchen facilities,
Let alone a Bigfoot.
Yeah.
to have your own kitchen facilities in an RV would be really, really nice.
Yeah. And since we always wanted to get an RV and travel the country looking
Right.
for Bigfoot,
Right.
maybe renting an RV and seeing how we like it.
Right.
But anyway, so if you're anywhere around Pennsylvania, you think it would be a good summer trip. It's only 3 days this weekend, May 31st, June 1st, and June 2nd, 3-day weekend. We might do it. If anybody's interested, email us.
Yeah, let us know.
Maybe we'll do this. This could be super kick-ass.
Well, and quite honestly, if we're in an RV, that means that we could have access to maybe somebody should bring some beer.
Yeah.
Don't you make beer?
I do make beer. I just happen to know a guy who just happens to be me who could, take care of that.
All right. Are you guys ready to move on to the main topic
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
today, whenever you're listening?
That's right. At this time.
Now, we're going to talk about, this topic was suggested by our friend Brody, Geigertown Paranormal.
Yeah.
What's up, Brody? What's up, Mike? What's up, Steph? Little shout out to Geigertown Paranormal. This is the, I would say legend, but this is the story of Matthias Schaumboch's tavern. Tavern?
Tavern.
Oh, all of a sudden I got an accent. Sounded like
Oh, my
very
gosh.
Pennsylvania Dutch.
Oh, no.
You don't like my Pennsylvania
That
Dutch
was-
accent?
that was-
I live in PA. I'm allowed to do a bad Pennsylvania Dutch.
Okay.
And also Hawk Mountain. Now, there's a lot of weirdness surrounding Hawk Mountain. Of course, Matthias Schaumboch, if he's considered possibly the United States' first serial killer,
Yes.
his story is very, very bizarre. But I want to start this off with a little history of the land so we kind of get a sense of what happened on Hawk Mountain
Okay.
before they built the tavern, before Matthias Schaumboch, before the 10-foot tall man.
Yes.
All right. So I'm going to start this off and we'll kick it over to Lish. So, but this is going back to February of 1756. This is during the French and Indian War. The Lenape tribe, they were partnering up with the French, and I guess they were going to murder any colonial families living out in the frontier. So I'm going to read this from an account of the attack. It was documented in a letter from Jean Valentine Probst. He sent it to his buddy Jacob Levin. Anyway, I cannot omit writing about the dreadful circumstances of our township, Albany. The Indians came yesterday morning, about 8 o'clock, to Frederick Reichendelfer's house. As he was feeding his horses, 2 Indians ran upon him and followed him into the field, 10 or 12 perches behind.
What's a perch?
I don't know what a perch is.
Yeah. Well, the guy who normally would look that up is
I know,
not here.
he's not
so,
here.
yeah. We'll have to move on.
It's got to be more than a foot, less than a mile. Because if there was,
Oh, thanks.
Hey, did I clarify that for you?
Okay.
They followed him into the field, 10 or 12 perches behind, but he escaped and ran towards Jacob Gerhardt's house with a design to fetch arms. When he came near to Gerhardt's, he heard a lamentable cry, "Lord Jesus, Lord Jesus," which made him run back towards his own house. But before he got quite home, he saw his house and stables in flames and heard all the cattle bellowing. And thereupon he ran away again. 2 of his children were shot. One of them was found dead in his field. The other was found alive and brought to Hagenbuck's house, but died 3 hours after. All his grain and cattle were burned up. At Jacob Gerhardt's, they had killed 1 man, 2 women, and 6 children.
Jeez.
2 children slipped under the bed, one of which was burned. The other escaped and ran a mile to get to people. That is the account of the brutal murders of the Reichendorfer children and the Gerhardt family.
Okay.
So this land already, that is an extreme tragedy that could possibly leave
Right.
around some
Negative
energy. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So from there, Lish, I'm going to kick it over to you.
Okay, so so there was one. I think there was one survivor in that whole thing.
Yes.
And he left. He was a small kid.
Right.
He left.
Right.
And when he came back, he built what is now Schaumboch's Tavern.
Right. He built it overlooking
Yes.
where his family was
Where it's-
massacred.
yeah, where they were
Yes.
killed.
Which is
pretty messed up,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I
It's
was
a
going to say,
little-
that's questionable to begin with.
I know.
That's really industrious.
Yeah.
I mean, why would you?
Industrious.
Well, yeah, well, you would. Why?
You keep using that word. Are you sure?
Well, because I'm just thinking of somebody who goes. I know what it takes to build a building, and you would go pay.
I don't know if he just maybe he felt a longing for that land because his family was there and they were murdered there, so he wants to be around them. I don't know why he built this house that became a tavern. I don't know.
But
he probably had a pool there, like a pool to be there. But
you saying he had just something compelled him?
I thought he said a pool. I was like, wow, he had a pool?
Like a PULL.
Not a heated in-ground pool overlooking a vista.
That'd be really cool. I'm just thinking that maybe he needed to establish some sense of permanence to maybe offset the tragedy, or there's got to be some reasoning, because you would just go and you would pay respects. You wouldn't build a house or build an inn.
I don't know. I feel like, it was just to be close to people that were part of his family.
Maybe
that were murdered. So he just wants to be in that area, and he grew up in that area.
Right.
So I don't know if he just felt.
But also, they always said that he was never quite right after, as you would expect. So maybe him building a house out there. There's no rhyme or reason.
Right. He just built it. He was, like you said, he was compelled to go out there and do this.
Right.
Huh.
So anyway, Matthias Schaumboch, they go.
There's a couple names, and I can understand, because my last name being Sheets, Schetz. People think it's spelled like the Sheets Market.
Yeah.
Right.
Sometimes they drop the C and the Z and just add an S, so it's a bed sheet.
Right.
Names get translated and tweaked and changed.
Yeah. Right.
We're going to go with Schaumboch for this conversation, but it has been Schaumbocher.
Yeah.
Schaumboch. But trust us, we never met these people, so we're only going on what we can find on the internet. So I'm going to continue to say Schaumboch.
I like Schaumboch also.
No, that's fine.
And if you got a problem with that, send us an email and help us get smarter.
Help us.
Exactly.
Help us. So Matthias Schaumboch, he eventually bought this property. I'm assuming the original builder, he died. So
I would imagine so.
Because I don't see him leaving the area. But anyway, so Matthias came in and decided to make it a tavern.
Okay.
And it was kind of like a layover for people trying to get over the mountain. So people would stop there on their way over, but they would,
the last night sleep that you could do, or warm meal before you do a long trek. Yeah,
and that's kind of where our story not begins, but you know what I mean.
The foundation.
Yes. So he had people coming and staying in his inn.
Right.
Some people left, some people didn't. They stayed forever.
Yeah. So what I got is, so the Gerhardts, they rented out, they rented this to Matthias Schaumboch and his wife.
Okay.
And they rented rooms out to travelers. So they're paying rent, but they're renting rooms.
They're subletting.
Okay.
Subletting. Is that what? Yeah, subletting. So they're subletting on this beautiful vista, overlooking on this mountain, but obviously, it's not as picturesque. As one would hope, because bad stuff went down.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, if you think about it too, it's Hawk Mountain, so. We just recently have, not recently, but it's considered, we call it Hawk Mountain because of the hawk preserve that's there.
Yes.
But in that day and age, there were still hawks there.
Oh, yeah.
It just didn't have the name, so maybe that view is a beautiful view, beautiful vista, who knows, of a big valley with some birds flying around. And so it would make sense to have people come and stay and appreciate the view.
Now, this is one of those things where, in the bottom of the mountain, there's a town. And, of course, people go to town, get supplies. People talk smack about him a lot. There's a lot of rumors going around, but there's definitely reasons why everybody would be wicked suspicious.
Yeah.
So one of the rumors circulating, and I'm going to use the word rumor because I want to get to his deathbed confession. Yeah. But so a lot of the rumors that people would go up there, stay the night tavern, and Matthias would get everybody liquored up, give, tons of food or drink, to the point where they would pass out, so tired from all the food, so hammered from all the booze. And when they were in a deep sleep, like, that kind of sleep when you're passed out, you're snoring.
You're done.
You're done. Yeah, you're checked out.
He would murder and rob them.
Okay.
Or would be rob them and murder them. But he'd kill them and take all their stuff.
Okay.
And then get rid of the bodies. People were talking that, he's hacking them apart, dumping them here or there or whatever, throwing them out in the forest and letting the raccoons pick the pieces of, so no evidence. So that is the impression that the town below the mountain had of this guy.
Yeah.
Right. And so there was a story, so my question has to be with these murdering and hacking up these bodies and putting them around, but was that what he was doing? And you had all the stuff. So it's so I came across where he was actually taking the stuff, taking it to market and selling their stuff off.
Yeah.
That's pretty wild.
Right.
Did you come across the story that there was this guy going around town selling Civil War uniforms and things like that? This guy disappeared. No one ever saw him again. But they did see Matthias selling pretty much the identical stuff.
The uniform.
Weeks later.
Right.
Oh,
right.
Yeah.
So good old Matthias had some issues.
Well, let's not skirt around one of the biggest things.
The elephant in the room.
Let's not skirt around the elephant in the room. So did you guys come across a little German sausage?
I did. Yeah, what he was doing with those bodies.
Yeah.
That's very exciting.
Some of them I feel like he was cutting up and throwing, in the woods, but also in his well. He was throwing remains down there. So nobody would find it. But then also, he was taking the meat from some of these people and making sausage.
Making some
selling them to people.
There's a story. This one traveler went there and, of course, ordered some grub, and he was eating the sausage, and it wasn't quite right.
Right.
And then it started to dawn on him. Probably one of those moments in the movie where
the aha
the
moment
main
or
actor
whatever.
looks up and you hear dum dum, where he's like, "Oh my god!" Well, this guy man, the sausage doesn't seem right, and he started realizing, wait, there's no livestock on this property.
Right.
How is he making this sausage? And it just started to tick with him. And he got out of there as fast as possible.
Oh, yeah.
But that was another one of those things that people thought he was serving up. Mm-hmm. He was one guest to another.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
Because
they'd
check in, he'd kill him, and feed him to the next guest.
Right.
Now that I can only imagine what that would be like, the logistics of making sausage from another person. Oh my gosh.
I don't even know.
That would be absolutely one of the most foul things I've ever.
Right?
I can't even imagine what that would be like.
Yeah.
Ugh.
What, eating human sausage?
No, the making of the sausage. Not the eating of the sausage.
Oh, yeah, you had no
that
problem
too.
with that?
Yeah, sausage. I can eat sausage. That's not a problem. But the making of sausage from humans, oh my gosh, that would make a giant mess. And the smell.
Well, it's awful, and that guy was awful for doing
Yeah,
it.
exactly. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
He must have had good ventilation because it would really, really stink.
Right.
I'm surprised the town never organized
Like a posse or
a
something.
posse, like at the
Yeah.
end of Frankenstein, where they all have pitchforks and torches and just go. If they really thought he was doing these evil things,
Right.
Unless he was feeding some people in the town and they were into it.
Oh, I don't know about that.
I don't know. Just a thought. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. No, I came across a couple stories. There was a traveler. He decided he was going to stay there, so he went up to the front door, and Matthias was like, "Take your horse to the barn or whatever." And he's like, "All right, fine." So he was trying to take his horse. The horse was rearing up. It did not want to go in the barn.
The horse knew.
Yeah, it was it knew, but he was like, "What the heck?" So he went into the barn himself and saw that there was fresh blood on the floor. Yeah, and so at that point he was like, and it was a storm also, which is why he wanted to stay.
Okay.
He didn't want to travel in that. But at that point he was like, maybe it's a good idea to keep going.
I don't know.
So yeah, he left.
Yeah,
he left because he was like, "Oh my god, I don't know." But he did survive the day because he didn't stay in the inn.
Right.
So
the moral of the story would be, if anybody out there should happen to be traveling around and the weather's showing up and you're in some crazy tavern and you just happen to know, the walls and the floors are splattered with blood, you just might continue on.
Oh God!
But the sausage is really good. It may be on special.
Right.
You might not want to take any of that with you.
Yeah. No, I read another story. A guy, he was going to stay there, and he was walking into the barn, and Matthias was actually hacking somebody to death, and Matthias was like, "Get out of here, or I'm going to go after you next," or something like that. And I was like, when I was reading it, I was like, holy crap, I don't even know what I would do at that point.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But yeah, he did not stay because he lived to tell the tale.
He lived to tell the tale. And so when you would see something like that, I mean, in the time frame there, would you report that to the authorities, or was there enough of a view to see like, oh, that dude was cutting up somebody's hand? And then you could see the hand or something?
I don't know.
You know? Or is it was like just like, because when you hang meat to cure, then you cut it up, you have to skin it and the whole 9 yards. And you see whatever animal that is without its skin on, and it's drying and it's doing this thing. So I'm envisioning hooks, like from the movie Predator kind of thing with people on it.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
Drying so he could cut them up and process the meat.
I wasn't even like going there.
Logistics.
You're right though.
Yeah. So would the guy like turn around and head back to town, or how far away was the town? Did it ever?
I don't know, but I feel like it was far enough that people would stop there on their way over the mountain. You know what I mean?
And far enough to where
it was half the way.
So if you saw somebody drying and curing without your skin on, that you wouldn't head back to town. I gotta say, if it were me seeing that, it doesn't really matter how far town would be away. I would go there.
Well,
quickly.
I mean, like I said in the first story, I said like the guy, it was storming so bad, and he was like, "I don't want to be traveling in this." And then when he spotted the fresh blood, he was like, "I think I'm gonna go.
I'm gonna go. I don't really want to be a part.
I'll take my chances in the snow."
Yeah, exactly.
I've never heard of the Donner Party, so I'm good. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Now, people speculated about him killing people. There was never any really, I guess, proof.
Right, because I guess if you get rid of all the evidence and you run a restaurant and there's no actual physical evidence because you've either sold off all the belongings, and they didn't have like forensic DNA like that back in the day, you needed to actually see somebody who had passed or been hacked up or whatever.
And he was never charged with anything. See, here's the thing. So Matthias Schaumboch, he died in 1879.
Okay.
Buried in New Bethel, at the New Bethel Church. I guess that's Berks County, Pennsylvania. Now, the story goes that on his deathbed, he confessed to the murders. He claimed he killed 11 people, 11 travelers, but he said that evil spirits told him to do this.
Yeah.
Okay.
That the mountain whispered to him day and night. Day and night.
Yeah.
It's a lot of whispering.
Encouraging him to act on his murderous impulses.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, did you get this one? Sounds like straight out of that one Jason movie where he got struck by lightning and came back to life. But there is a story that describes that when they were lowering Matthias's body into the ground, a bolt of lightning struck nearby.
Yeah, I saw that.
And everybody crapped their pants.
Yeah, they ended up burying him upside down because they didn't feel like
fixing it.
Yeah, they didn't want to fix it. They just buried him.
Well, I guess because the pallbearers freaked out.
Oh, yeah.
And then dumped the coffin and the body rolled out, and they just...
Yeah, they were like, nope, not doing
that
it.
Sounds like a bad movie, or even an awesome movie.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh my gosh. Lightning struck, the pallbearers take off.
Now, part of his confession, though, he did talk about way he spread the victim's bones and bodies, cut him up with an axe and spread them around the mountain. Hopefully the animals would just pick the bones clean and take care of that problem.
Right.
So that's why some people consider probably the first serial killer.
Mm-hmm.
I would agree with that. I mean,
yeah, and
in America,
he confessed to 11, but it could have been even more because he was like, after 11, I was like, I could stop keeping count.
Right, it was just part of his daily activity.
So it could have been more than 11, but.
And on a bizarre note, maybe this isn't bizarre because the whole thing's bizarre.
I was gonna say maybe the whole thing is bizarre,
but I didn't find much about his wife. I found one thing. And everybody
really nice.
said that she was really nice.
Yeah, she was nice, so.
But nothing about her being an accomplice?
No.
Nothing about anything.
Well, but that time
you think she would be at least mildly suspicious?
I don't know.
She could have been, but she just kept her mouth shut.
Well, and that's just it. Just think of Pennsylvania at that time frame in the 1800s. Do you think even that his wife would have any vocalization at all?
Right.
Or even know? Who knows? Who knows? It was a different time, a whole different mentality back then.
Well, everybody hated him and everybody loved her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who knows? If she never went out to the barn because that's where he did his thing and he was out farming and tending to things and that's what he was doing out in the barn. Yeah. So she never knew.
Maybe she chose to ignore it. I don't know.
Yeah, who knows? Who knows?
She was a nice person, so
but she
maybe
seems nice.
Yeah.
So, just to reiterate, he confessed to all these murders, but he said the mountain was talking to him.
Yeah.
Evil spirits were telling him to murder day and night, which leads to some other weird stories on this mountain.
Oh, yeah. Did you guys hear about the next owner of the tavern, actor Matthias?
Well, tell us.
He believed the house was haunted by a dark, evil spirit. But because he had such a belief in God, he kept it at bay. Well, one day, somebody was traveling over the mountain, came upon the tavern, and noticed that his door was ripped off the hinges.
Ripped off the hinges?
Off.
Okay.
He peeked in. The furniture was strewn everywhere around. He could not find the owner anywhere. A search party actually found the owner.
Okay.
And it was, he didn't have a head.
Oh.
It was.
Whoa.
Yeah. They never figured out what happened. He just,
He lost his head.
He lost his head, yeah.
Wait, the door was ripped off the hinges and his head was ripped from his body.
Yes.
Did they never found the head?
Nope. Well, I couldn't find that. I'm assuming.
Nice one.
Yeah, neither could they.
Yeah, I don't know. They just talked about finding the corpse, not the head. So I don't know.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow. So, I mean, I could... To rip a door off its hinges and everything.
Yeah.
That's a bear.
We're talking a door built back in the day before IKEA. It's a strong door.
It's a solid wood door.
Strong American-made doors back
Right,
then.
yeah. And those hinges aren't little ticky-tack hinges. Those are serious things. So a bear's not going to do that. A bear wouldn't remove a door. It would just find a way in and find
break the
this
glass
way.
out.
Yeah, I don't know why. I'm just I don't know. Could a bear walk up and jiggle the lock and get a hold and just rip the door off? I have this whole vision of a bear standing on his hind legs trying to tear a door off.
Like Yogi Bear.
Yeah.
Just pissed off.
Hey, boo-boo.
Hey, boo-boo.
There's a basket.
Inside of this house is a basket.
Right.
Anybody that doesn't know what we're talking about is like, they sound stupid.
I don't know. To tear a door off the hinges.
That takes an extreme amount of force or tools. They would go up there with the plan of we need
But it was
crowbars.
ripped.
Right.
It was ripped off. The hinge, it was ripped off the hinges. So, this door was, literally torn off.
Yikes.
Right?
Yeah. Or was it obliterated from the inside?
That's a good question. He did think this place was haunted by a dark, evil spirit. So, I don't know.
So maybe even poltergeist style?
Maybe.
Because that would explain. I mean, that would possibly explain.
It's like ripping some dude's head off is a little beyond a poltergeist.
Well, no, but that would explain something from the inside blasting a door off of the hinges, and it might look like it was ripped. But losing one's head?
Yeah, I know, right?
That, oh my gosh.
Decapitated corpse.
Yeah, that makes me think of a very large werewolf biting somebody's head off. But I don't know. Yeah, there's no reports of that. Huh.
Well, so the next owner...
Because they had a really good realtor,
I know.
so they moved it down the line.
He bought the property in the late 1800s. So maybe
Did they
he
have
wasn't
to disclose
the
back
next.
in the day?
I don't know.
No one ever was murdered here.
No.
So he had a beautiful young daughter who liked to play the flute or the whistle or something like that. So she would just be wandering around the house doing this kind of shit.
Fluting?
Yeah, she would be fluting. I think she fell down the stairs and died. But people, even to this day, the bird sanctuary, which I think is where this is located now, people can hear whistles or they can hear a flute. Yes, they can hear this music, which is crazy.
That's it? No other reports like she just fell down the steps?
Yeah, fell down the steep steps leading to the basement. So
it sounds like right out of a horror movie.
Yeah, I mean...
steep steps to the basement. Was it pushed by an unseen force?
That's what I was thinking, is that if for a child to haunt... Usually it's something traumatic, and that sounds like an accident, but there could be. We don't know about her life.
It's traumatic to fall down the stairs. Have you ever done it? It sucks. It's traumatic,
especially when you spill your beer.
I know.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, my son just fell down the stairs the other day. And
did he? Oh,
he didn't appreciate it.
No, it's not fun.
It's not fun. Not fun. And he would die. But I'm just thinking that if her fluting and the sounds of whistling or flutes can be heard, there has to be something tethering her to the area. There's something bringing her. I don't know.
Yeah, and I feel like I read something else about somebody who had fallen down the stairs. So I don't know if it's the same person fell down the stairs, but they were actually they were whistling or they were playing the flute or something while they were going down the stairs. So I don't know if that trapped them.
I'm wondering if there was enough evil energy already present in that place from the earlier shenanigans that it just happens that if you should happen to kick while you're there, that this is where you're going to stay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because there was so much between the murders back in the day.
Oh, God,
and then
there was so much bad mojo in this area.
Right, and the sausage making and all of that stuff that if you just happen to die there, it became like a vortex almost keeping your soul there.
Absolutely.
Now, I feel like I found another report that's kind of blending.
Okay.
When you were talking about the guy who was like uber religious and that's what he felt kept. I found a report, 1890, a man named Matthias Berger.
Okay.
Like the sandwich?
There was a lot of Matthiases, I guess, at that time.
Yeah, it must have been a popular name.
Yeah.
But he was a devout Catholic. He lived as a hermit in like just a little hut on the mountain slope. Simple life, living off the land. He would only go into town occasionally for things he might need. But, because they had a spring up there he was using for water.
Okay.
But they found his body. He was found robbed and beaten to death.
Oh,
Nobody ever found who did this to him. Again,
robbed and beaten to death.
Yeah. So I don't know if it's like a combination.
It could be
story or if because that guy you said lived in the tavern after Matthias.
Yeah.
This guy was a hermit on the side. Both were very religious people, but both something got to them.
Right.
Ended brutally.
So there's a story on this mountain. I could find no other details about it, just one little line.
Okay.
And I'm so intrigued. But there is this story that there is a 10-foot tall man roaming the woods.
Yep.
I have no other information I could find about it.
I found that he is a glowing man.
A glowing 10-foot.
Glowing.
Yep.
Yes.
That's what I saw. That it was glowing.
Oh, then apparently there was more to find. I just didn't find it.
The evil that radiates from him is so powerful that it's supposed to frighten just the strongest of observers with just its presence. But yeah, like he is just that terrifying. I mean, if I saw a 10-foot guy, I think I would just be terrified regardless.
I'm wondering if that's Matthias.
I don't know.
Why would he be 10-foot glowing?
Because he's just filled with evil so much that it just like...
That's just how he presents himself?
like Stay Puft Marshmallow Man style. It just blew him up, you know? It's just... He's bigger just because he's absorbed so much negative energy.
Well, let me tell you this story, and then we'll see what you think. So, there was these kids hanging out on Hawk Mountain. I think they had a camp set up, do a little camp. And, of course, they had a car doing some driving. But anyway... they were driving up this road that goes up to the Schaumbocher Inn. And so they were driving up there. They saw what they can only describe as a white-robed figure, with a long gray beard. Like, I'm assuming, to me, that sounds like Gandalf.
Yeah.
And he stood on the side of the road, near the entrance of the old inn. And in his hand was a Sith. Is that what you call that?
Yes.
A Sith?
Sith?
Yeah.
Scythe?
Oh,
sickle?
a sickle.
Sickle?
Yeah, something. Some kind of farm.
Like what death carries.
Exactly.
Right.
But in this case, is it
Scythe?
Scythe? SCYTHE.
So we, as all of our listeners know, we never screw up on names ever. So this is just another instance of you know what we're talking about.
Anyway, so these guys saw this figure and they just lost their stuff, and they floored it because they were wicked scared. So they just started speeding up. They felt they needed to get out of here. Mm-hmm. Hold on, I'm trying to read my notes here.
Can I tell you the beginning of this story?
Yeah, do it.
Okay.
Wait, there's a beginning to my story?
Yes, there is, because I have it written down on a paper here.
Is that why you were putting your notes towards me like I was supposed to?
No, it was just more like, I got this.
I've got this information.
So anyway, it was like a group of 5 people. They decided that they were going to go to Matthias Schaumboch's gravesite.
Okay.
Because he was buried in a cemetery.
Right.
So they decided they were going to go to his gravesite and do what teenagers do. They were drinking. They were spitting on his grave. They were stomping on his grave. And then...
Well, that's just... You're asking for trouble.
Right. Well, here's the thing. They decided to pee on his grave.
Oh, urine's the way to go.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the final straw.
Yeah, it's not good when you do that. So all of a sudden, all of them, they had this immense fear.
As soon as they took a whiz?
Yeah, they were like, oh, God, we need to leave. So they went back to the car. The car wouldn't start. It took them about 15 to 20 minutes before they got the car to start. They finally got it to start. It did it on its own. It didn't even, like, they were trying to get it to go, and it wouldn't before, but then all of a sudden it did start. So they got in the car. They started driving. They hit a chipmunk. Yeah, no. Then they hit a squirrel. A squirrel came out of nowhere. Then a rabbit. Then a raccoon.
They're getting bigger.
Yeah, and then a possum. And then, finally, they hit a deer.
Let's be honest. Possums always get hit.
Yeah.
No, and then that's when they came across the ghost of, them, assuming it was Matthias.
But why would it have, like, that sickle, the scythe in his hands?
You know what?
Crazy.
I forgot to say this earlier. They heard a voice that said, "Get out of here now." And so that's when they were like, okay, we're going back to the car right now.
Wow.
We're getting out of here.
That is interesting because I didn't bring it up because I have a lot of notes that I skim over. There was a dude had stopped at the inn. He's thinking about staying. He heard a commotion in the barn. So he walked over to see what was going on, and I guess Matthias was coming down out of the upper part of the barn, and he had a hatchet in his hand. And he told the guy, he's like, get out of here, you'll feel this hatchet.
Oh, God.
So maybe that was just saying, get out of here, get out.
I don't know. They were terrified. And the entire time that they were driving and hitting all these animals, they were just coming out. You know what I mean? They felt this electrical charge in the air, and they were like, oh, my God, this is crazy. They finally got back to their campsite, and the electrical charge that was gone. The fear was gone. They were just like, I don't know what happened, but something told us to get out of there, and I'm thinking it was Matthias.
Interesting.
Holy Moses.
Tell you what, why don't we take a break? We'll come back with our final thoughts on this. What a beautiful morning. Rise and shine, friends. We're looking for Bigfoot today.
Oh, my God. What was that?
Is that Bigfoot?
No, that's just Nash. He's a real bear in the morning before he gets his coffee.
Here, Nash. I made a fresh pot of Moses family coffee.
Their original roasted pecan is amazing.
Yum. This is amazing. Bigfoot's right behind me, isn't he?
Run! Ah! Go to mfjerky.com and use promo code SpookyJerky15 to save 15% off your entire order. Moses Family Coffee. The best way to start your paranormal or normal adventure.
Hello, listeners. I'm Jaden McKell, and welcome to Straight Up Enigmas, a podcast to explore the unexplained. Spine-tingling supernatural stories, true crime, and riddles from the ancient world are all things to expect when you tune in to Straight Up Enigmas. Like the time we discussed the mysterious death of Alyssa Lamb, or shared terrifying true stories from real people about sleep paralysis and shadow people. In one of our most recent episodes, I told the story of Debbie Kent, the sister of my dad's best friend from high school, who was abducted and murdered by serial killer Ted Bundy. Join us every Tuesday and dive into the world's weirdest riddles, unsolved cold cases, and ghostly encounters. You can find our Straight Up Strange episodes on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, and anywhere you get your podcasts.
And we're back.
That's a robust, we're back.
Heck yeah, I'm excited. This was really interesting. And now we told you the story of Matthias Schaumboch. We talked about that he said something on this mountain.
Right.
It was evil and telling him to do all these bad things. Did you guys find anything else out about this mountain that we talked about the history and all those murders, so it has a very dark past.
Right.
No, I feel like I found things about people have seen lights. They've actually seen figures. There was like a Native American girl that they saw staying near them.
Yeah, like a ghost. I
came
across that, a ghost Native American girl.
Yeah, and that when he
would just disappear.
Yeah, it just disappeared after a few seconds.
What do you think the 10-foot tall man is?
I don't know.
I know you were like, it's Matthias, but
I think it's Matthias.
Well, all right, so I'm sure there is more information out there about Hawk Mountain, but I found this. I'm not saying this explains the 10-foot tall man. But this is a report.
It's not aliens,
from Monday, or at least it was, cited on Monday the 1st, July 1991.
Okay.
This is Hawk Mountain Boy Scout Camp, of course, Pennsylvania. And the little report here is, we were at camp. Up in the sky, something caught our eye. It was light. It didn't move for about 15 minutes.
Oh.
Just hung there with no noise. And then was gone like a shot. Just gone. I was only 12 when it happened. I was at a Boy Scout camp at a place called Hawk Mountain in Pennsylvania. We were walking up to the phone to call home because the cabin we were at had none. And up in the sky, we saw this light. It was weird, but it really caught our eye.
Wow.
We couldn't stop looking at it. We even started trying to guess what it was. It might have been a helicopter, we thought, but it made no noise. It could have been a plane, but it was not moving at all. We had no idea what it was. Then, while we were still looking at it, what seemed to take forever as they were staring at it, it just took off like a shot. I mean, it was gone. I have never even heard about anything like this. And frankly, I'm a little embarrassed about telling the story. But I had to get it off my chest. It was the strangest thing that ever happened to me. I'll never forget it.
Huh.
That was written on a website I just came across. But yeah, about UFO sightings.
Okay.
Yeah, did they say it was like like an orb? Was there
No, he
anything
just caught
specific?
a light that was just kind of hanging. And then, boom, just shot off.
I'm just thinking that we've had, like with the Min Min lights, we've had situations where we've come across orbs actually going back to a burial site or being in the area.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking maybe that would explain that sighting.
Maybe.
That maybe that was the 10-foot tall man, but just not in full body form. Maybe the light was checking them out to say, assessing them. I don't know.
I don't know either. It doesn't fit into the to the weirdness of Matthias Schaumboch being a serial killer, but also claiming that evil spirits on this mountain.
Right.
Also, another guy that lived there said evil spirits.
Yeah.
Is the dark history
Super dark
of
Oh
this
my gosh.
mountain? Did it cause something to be left behind?
Right.
Haunting this area? I don't know. The UFOs? I don't know. It just as another one of those weird things. Like, not only do we have this paranormal, supernatural thing going on, somebody reported potentially what could be. Well, no, not potentially. They said they saw a UFO.
Right.
So Hawk Mountain, there's a lot of areas like, we got the Brown Mountain Lights down south, another
Right.
mountain range. We
Right.
get weird lights, but also a lot of paranormal weirdness.
Yeah.
The only thing we need is to have Bigfoot pop up on Hawk Mountain.
And just be
I
like,
know.
hey, everybody, I'm here.
Yeah. I found the whole story extremely interesting. I know there's a lot more reports on paranormal. I feel like I could be wrong, but I know there's stories of ghost investigators getting some EVPs up here. The place for sure has its place in weirdness in Pennsylvania.
God, yeah.
Definitely.
The story, being like potentially America's first serial killer.
Yeah.
And confessing to the 11 people he killed on his deathbed.
Right.
The fact that he probably fed,
Those 11
human-
people.
made sausage out of humans and fed it to other humans.
Right.
Like, what the fudge?
Right.
I don't know. I found it interesting to dig into bizarre, weird, like messed up.
Oh God. Yeah.
What the heck is wrong with
Yeah.
people? Type story.
But on the flip side, there's a really beautiful hawk preserve there. So if you
Right,
if you are
there
a
is.
bird watcher,
Or if you want to go hiking,
Right,
like,
it's a beautiful area.
Yes.
just don't mind the ghosts of murdered people.
The National Forest, whatever up there, they own the tavern. The tavern's still there.
Yeah.
They own it now, but it is part of the preserve.
Yeah.
So you can drive up that road and you
yeah.
can see the
And
tavern.
go visit. Say hello.
Yeah, I don't know if you can go do a paranormal investigation of it. I would really want to.
I saw something about ghost tours up there, but I literally found like a sentence about it, and that
okay.
was it. So
I want to know more. I want to know about the tall man.
yeah, I know, and that was
And not
another
that
thing.
crappy. Wasn't there a crappy movie with we watched it. What's that one actress? She was in Blade Trinity with Ryan Reynolds.
Jessica.
You're right there. You almost got it. You almost got it.
I know you just ruined it though for me. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
I was almost there, and then you just kept talking. So.
Blade Trinity, Jessica, somebody or other. Okay.
But anyway, I think she was in it, but it didn't have anything to do with like a supernatural. they were using like some type of legend or lure to fool people because they were doing some type of
Beale?
smuggling. Yeah, Jessica Biel.
Thank you.
She's lovely, though.
But I'm
She is.
very curious about what the tall man is. Now, you guys heard of the Hat Man. We got the Shadow Man.
Yeah.
Is the tall man just
Like a version.
a version?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe, or its own thing. The more I listen and the more I read about this, it's got to be Matthias. I just see him just swelling with so much negative energy that it's just kept him there.
I know.
And
He's trapped to haunt the mountain?
Yeah.
yeah, that makes the most sense to me.
Yeah.
Looking for a little sausage here and there.
No.
Guy just wants.
Okay.
He just wants a sausage.
Woo! All right. Got to thank, like I said, Brody. Interesting topic. Thank you.
Definitely.
Thank
Send
you.
your topics. Just go to the website, paranormalpunchers.com. You'll find ways to send us your topic ideas or hit up Facebook. You can find us.
Oh, yeah.
We're out there. You
And
can
we're
find
out there.
us.
And we'll reply. And we really greatly appreciate it.
Oh, yeah.
And
Definitely.
again, like this one, I never, ever, ever, ever would have come across this if it wasn't for that idea that he
Right.
shot us.
Right.
We have a list. We're trying to get to everything.
Oh, yeah.
So if you give us a topic idea, it might not happen till next year.
Right.
But we're trying to check them all off.
But we'll
Yep.
get there.
And we
Yep.
thank you so much for that. Man, I think we covered a lot. I don't know what else we could talk about. It's cold. It's January.
Oh, God.
I can't wait till it gets warmer. But until then, remember, you can find us on the social medias. Paranormal Punchers. Lish, anything else for everybody?
No, I think you covered it all. So.
Nash.
I just want to say thank the two of you for having me here and help out. I want to make some sausage here in a little bit. I'm glad that you're joining us.
Okay.
No, thank you very much for the topic idea. It's fantastic, and I'm looking forward to a good 2019.
Yeah.
Dave?
Ah.
Nope, that's right. Dave's not here.
Sausage.
Dave's sick. Dave, I hope you're feeling better.
I know.
Told you, Dave, at New Year's Eve, I forget what we said. He was like, I never get sick. Now he's sick. Dave, I hope you're feeling better, buddy. All right, that's it. Who knows what we're going to talk about next time?
Right.
I don't even know. It'll be awesome. And remember, wherever the pudding skin is at its thinnest,
We'll be there.
Nash will be there sticking his finger in it.
Yeah.
Because if it's not weird.
It's not worth checking out.